Hi, I'm Dominic McDowall Thomas. I'm Cubicle 7 CEO. It's quite a lot. It's a very wide range of stuff that I get involved with. There's the day-to-day running the company, doing all the boring financial arrangements, and making sure that all the books going out to people, and keeping the production process on track. I think the most exciting part is the role of creative director. I think for me, that's like the best part of the job. Um, where I sit in the scheme of things is each of the line developers come up with their concepts and their briefs and their pitches for where they want the line to be going, and where they want to, which books they want to be doing next, and things like that. And then I work with them to turn those from sort of initial concepts into books that will work as part of the line, and really sort of like, bring them into product form, which sounds horribly mercantile. It is. I mean, more on the creative side of it, it's making sure that it's a complete package, and that it's as good a product as it can be for that line. On one hand, Cubicle 7 is a games publisher. We want to make great games, and we want to to get them out into people's hands and get them playing them and get them excited about them, and that's definitely something we're very much about. But also with role playing, you're also creating worlds and creating stories, and that's a lot of what we're about too. So it's kind of hard to really sort of nail it down to one thing. I think that on the very practical level, we produce role-playing games, and now we're starting to produce card games and other types of games. So our goal there is to produce cool stuff that people are going to have a load of fun with. So yeah, I think that says something about the psychology of those of us who work in role-playing. Not only do we want to just tell a story, which you can do in loads of other ways or loads of other mediums, but we also want to very strongly detail the world in which it takes place, and obviously you get that in literature as well. But the level of detail that we go into is hard to replicate anywhere else, I think. It's a hell of a thing to communicate. You've got that level of detail. I mean, how do you get that across to somebody in an engaging way? It's a challenge. I think that there's probably some skill sets that it's quite hard to define that go into making good role playing products. But no, we want to do it. That's part of it. We want to create these worlds. We want to create these cool places that people are going to want to play games in. Across as wide a variety of media as will have us. Wow, that is a very good question, because there's a couple of different ways of approaching it. I think there's you've got the core team, so that's me, John Hodgson, who's our art director. Then you have the line developers, Gareth Ryder Hanrahan, Walt Chinovsky, and Stuart Boone, and Andrew Peregrine, and I'm probably leaving people out. Well, there's a game we haven't actually really properly announced yet. Kenneth Spencer is heading up Rocket Age, which is a really exciting new sort of golden era pulp sci-fi solar game. Yeah, so he's well. With the wonderful Paul Bourne, who works as our graphic designer and does a lot of the layout and things like that. There's Adel Ryder Hanrahan and Andrew O'Hara also do sterling work on the layout and the graphic design side of things. But we've got a huge number of other people involved in Cubicle 7, mostly on a freelance basis, but we've got freelance artists, lots of freelance writers, freelance editors, proofreaders. They're a huge number of people. It's fantastic to work with everybody. It's a real privilege, I think, to be working amongst so many talented people. it's yeah, no, it's fantastic. It blows me away sometimes when we get something through and it's just so much better than what I was expecting. I mean, I was expecting something cool, because otherwise we wouldn't have commissioned it. But they take it in a slightly different direction, or go in a direction that you wouldn't have personally gone with it. But it's fantastic. It's just, yeah, it's thrilling to see that when it comes through. Um, as much as there is a typical day, there's always different projects that are going on, or different situations arising that have to be dealt with, and that sort of huge variety. That's really good. I think that typically there would probably be I'd be looking at a layout file. So it's come towards the end of the process. I'll be looking at that, making sure that it meets the objectives for that book, that it does what it's supposed to do, that there's no sort of gaps, and also just making sure that the editing and proofreading seems to have done its job, and the layout's neat, and yeah, again, just giving that final check to make sure that the book's as good as it can be. Then there could be some lovely filing and paperwork. Everybody loves that, right? But yeah, that could involve stuff like countersigning contracts for freelancers, making sure that people are being commissioned for the right things. It could be, a payment run or invoices, checking those over and handing them over to the accounts team. I could be again looking at some outlines for new products with line developers. I tend to try and catch up with each of the line developers once a week, just do a quick run through where we are with things, flag up if anything's running late. As you know, with Cubicle 7, that's been a frequent part of my job, and seeing what we can do to get those back on track. Then I could be talking to the BBC, dealing with some parts of the licensing agreement, or pitching briefs of our new products to them to get the initial green light for development. Then I could be looking at the huge Doctor Who art files, trying to find the right images for the layout artists if they've been looking for a particular thing they can't find. I'll be generally spend some part of the day talking to our wonderful art director, John Hodgson, and as we're going through sort of how things are working, and again, just making sure that all the different sides of the production process are meeting up, so that the book doesn't get stuck anywhere or stalled because one part of the process is lagging behind any of the other ones. What else? Yeah, there's quite a lot. I mean, it all depends on what's going on that day. You could have something that would arise on, say, the forums that we need to tackle. I could be dealing with a customer service issue that's been. Most of those these days, we have we've got US and UK warehouses, and they handle their own fulfillment. So that's fairly hands off these days. But yeah, sometimes something will happen that I'll need to get involved with. And then there's preparing for events, as we've got Gen Con coming up, which will probably have gone maybe by the time that you're looking at this. But events like that take up a huge amount of time. There's so much to arrange because it's so far away generally, but especially for the US events for us, you're arranging a lot of separate little elements that you need to track and make sure that they get there on time. So that can be time consuming. What else? Dragon Meet, the Games convention that we run in London. That's going to be more gearing up for activity in the next few months. But yeah, I'm sure that'll be quite frenetic towards the end. I think events tend to be. Yeah, so I hope it gives a snapshot. Anyway, it is very varied. It's really it's an amazing job. I think yeah, it is the creative direction. I think it's as I run the company, I don't get a huge amount of time to do hands-on creative work, which I used to do a lot more. For example, the first edition of the Doctor Who game basically arrived with me as the manuscript from David Chapman, and I edited. Laid it out, did all the production work on it, and which again, it's hugely rewarding to have that sort of input into the game and really sort of nurture it from manuscript on. And I mean, again, the laundry. I did the bulk of editing, and then did all of the layout and some of the graphic design and things like that. And it's you get so close to projects, I think, when you're involved to that level. So, but I find these days I haven't really got time to do any of that anymore. So yeah, it's very rewarding for me to be involved in or to be the creative director, or take that role. And yeah, still get to interfere at every level. It's really hard, actually. There's obviously, you know, there's something about all of our games that I absolutely love. I think that personally, there's a couple that are kind of edged ahead. Sometimes I think because of where Cubicle 7 was as a company at the time, and where I was as an individual, and my involvement in them. So, I mean, for example, the first, the 10th Doctor edition of the Doctor Who game. So yes, so Cubicle 7 became an ongoing sort of full-time concern in April 2009. And I think it was about the end of that month that I got the manuscript from David Chapman for the 10th Doctor edition of the Doctor Who game. And it was fantastic, actually. It was basically a month of me working pretty much all the time, waking up, heading into the office. It was quite a warm May, and just seeing the game take form in front of me, from going through the edits and making some amends and running it past Dave, and then sort of into layout and the graphic design stuff around it, and just seeing this Word, Microsoft Word document. Slowly evolve and change over the course of the month into the finished print files, which then sent for approvals, and then got arranged the printing and all that. So yeah, that was fantastic. And then culminating then in getting the proof, so the sample back from the printers and checking it looks great, and that was a really special time. And I think so yeah, that's always going to have a very nice sort of place in my heart. And then for another reason, the One Ring. I mean, obviously it's a Tolkien game, so that was always going to be a highlight. But because I don't get the chance to be that much hands-on anymore, again, I kind of decided that now I had to put an end to that, or suspend that a bit for the One Ring. So writing bits of the One Ring, that was a highlight. That was something I'm really proud to have been involved at that level. And then of course on the production specking and setting out trying to turn the image of what we all had in our heads of what it was going to be like, turning that into printer language, and then getting back the finished product, which was actually pretty close to what we'd asked for. So that's a particular sort of proud moment for me. I was very, very pleased about that. The future holds so much for Cubicle 7 at the moment. There's so much great stuff coming through the pipeline. We've got the Doctor Who card game coming out. We've got the new edition of the role-playing game for Doctor Who, and all the supplements that have been in the works for that game for quite a while. They'll start coming through, which is just fantastic to see. We have new games. We've got the Primeval game, which brings dinosaurs and future predators and apocalypse, and space-time anomalies, using the Doctor Who rules again, so it's all compatible and you can mix and match. That's fantastically exciting. I absolutely love with that game at the moment. We've got a Drexel, which is the game from the makers of Chin, the Warring States, the mythic China game that we have, which is absolutely beautiful and so well themed. It's really come out well. And yeah, a host of other stuff, more laundry, more Victoriana. We've got the 3rd edition of Victoriana. There's also some special secret things I can't tell you about right now, but we'll keep doing more of these updates, and tune in and find out more.